What's up, guys? My name's Cody, and this is another UFC betting breakdown. This time for UFC 257, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, and we got a fire card, third card of the week, and the best card out of the three. I mean, it's a little top heavy, but there's still some good fights, and those top two cards or fights on the card are just absolute fire. I'm really excited to break this one down. We were a little unlucky last Saturday. I took Wednesday off, didn't drop a video. Sorry about that. It's just been a really busy week, and then fight cards in the week were just pretty tough. But we almost got that Nurmagomedov. It was looking like Nurmagomedov was going to get that decision for us. Ended up getting that rear naked choke. And finishing him. I had Nurmagomedov by decision, and then Tom Breese I had. Looked like we were starting to see Akhmedov starting to gas as I hoped for, but then right when that happened, Tom Breese just kept going for those leg locks. I was screaming at my TV. It was just not very smart. It ended up on bottom every time, and got submitted right after failing to get that second, maybe even third leg lock attempt. Then even Tyson Nam, pretty good fight. We knew he wasn't going to throw a lot of volume. We knew he likes to, he even said it before the fight. He's a one-trick pony. It was just setting up that one shot the whole time. And Murphy and Mudarji did get it done for us, but Magny came in with that just bad game plan, and that was really frustrating to watch. I don't know why he was initiating all those clinches. I don't know why he wasn't trying to use his length on the feet. Thought he could keep him out of range and be able to pick them apart a little bit, and I think that would have gassed Chiesa a lot better into those later rounds. But Chiesa looked great, got the dub. Definitely not a good card for me to start the year, but hey, it happens. We killed 2020. We're gonna kill 2021 too. So let's start it off good. Before we get into this card, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know what fights you're betting on. I know I'm dropping this video late in the week. Like I said, it's been a really hectic week for me. I've been really just training really hard. Got competitions coming up, and I got a lot of other personal shit going on, but I don't like to rush these videos. If I drop it later and get less views, it is what it is. I'd rather do that than give y'all half-assed picks that I'm not 100% confident in. So yeah, leave a comment. Let me know which ones y'all agree or disagree with. Leave a like, that always helps. And yeah, man, I appreciate y'all watching. Let's get into it. First off, we got Amir Al Bazi taking on Zhalgas Zhumagulov. And Zhalgas we actually saw last against Rulian Paiva. A lot of people think that was a bad decision. I've even heard robbery. That term gets thrown around a little too much in the MMA atmosphere. But it was a close fight. Paiva, he actually did get outlanded. Like, Zhalgas was doing pretty good. He landed some good shots. Probably had the more impactful shots, some people would say. But, Paiva was able to squeeze it out. And, not the greatest debut, on paper at least, for Zhalgas. But, I mean, if you look at it, his regional fights, he fought a lot of pretty tough guys. I mean, Ali Bagatinov, Tagir Alimbekov, Tyson Nam. I mean, a lot of these regional fights, pretty solid fighters for a lesser known promotion on the regional scene. I like his style. Definitely got that 5'4" with a 66-inch reach. So he's almost always the shorter, smaller guy, but hits like a train, and definitely, makes up for that in power, and his technique on the feet is really solid. He can mix in takedowns. Likes to strike for sure, but his opponent here, Amir Al Bazi, really good grappler. We saw him last against Malcolm Gordon, who I remember going into that fight, people were like, oh, well, Malcolm Gordon, he's a black belt, he's a submission artist and all that shit. Well, got triangled in the first round by Amir. And, if you go down his win, I mean, he did fight in Bellator, but not against the, highest of caliber opponents. I'd say he hasn't fought as tough of opponents as Zhalgas, but did fight Jose Torres, lost the decision. And then even Malcolm Gordon in his UFC debut, that's probably somebody who's not going to be with the promotion much longer. That win has not aged that great. They actually tried to schedule him against Paiva, Zalgas' last opponent, and that got canceled. And the first time was Zalgas got canceled. Now they're running it back. This should be a good fight, man. I get why the line's close. I think Al Bazi really does need to mix in some takedowns here, but it can be tough against a guy like Zalgas who has a lot of power in his hands, and he has that short center of gravity. I mean, Amir's not that much taller or longer, but it's hard to shoot and successfully come out with a wrestle heavy game plan against somebody 5'4" with that short little fucking reach, just looking to hit you with bombs every time you come in. He's got just big overhand right, big fucking lead hook, and I mean he throws damn near everything with power. I see Zalgas a favorite here, and the line's damn near a pick 'em for a reason. I actually think I'm going to lean with Amir Al Bazi to mix in the takedowns and be able to get him down to the mat. If he does, I don't think he'll be able to submit Zalgas, but just win 2 rounds, mixing in his... I think the striking is going to be pretty close. I think Zalgas might have a bit of an edge there. But if Amir can just land a couple takedowns, I think he can win 2 rounds. It's going to be a close fight. This one's probably going to go to decision. And I'm going to take Amir by decision. It's going to be a close fight. I'm not going to bet on this one. It's been a toss-up. I've been going back and forth a little bit. One of the tougher fights on the card to pick. Definitely top 3. But I'm going to go with Amir Al Bazi to get it done by decision. And let's move into the next fight. Next up, we got Nick Lentz taking on Movsar Evelev. And about the opposite of the last one, because I would say this is probably one of the more clear-cut picks on the card. And the line does kind of indicate that. We got Nick Lentz, tough, savvy veteran, taking on Movsar Evelev, a big prospect. Last time we saw Movsar was actually against Mike Grundy, and I got to say, I had Mike Grundy in that fight. Now, he was a decent, I think I got Grundy at plus 175, so I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I was hoping that, with Movsar loving to mix in his grappling, I thought that Mike Grundy's wrestling would be able to just kind of counter that pretty well. Styles make fights, and it did in the beginning. In the beginning, I was looking really smart. Grundy got him in that deep darce and almost finished the fight. It was really close. The problem was I think he just squeezed a little too much in that choke and killed his arms, and I think that kind of gassed him out for the rest of the fight when Movsar was able to escape. Just kind of pepper him with shots on the feet, outland him, was just a better striker. And, Mike Grundy, little bit out of, his element on the feet, just likes to, he has power. He'll throw that big right hand. But other than that, Movsar, good kicks, good clinch work, good knees. Good at fighting at range and striking into his takedowns. On the other side, though, Nick Lentz, tons of experience, This guy is super tough, training over there at ATT. And coming off 2 losses, Arnold Allen, Charles Oliveira did finish him. But that is Charles Oliveira, and that wasn't even too long ago either. That was only a year and a half ago. Before that, beat Scott Holtzman and Gray Maynard. Not the craziest wins, but it will take it. Lost to David Timur, not a very great loss. Traded, he's a little back and forth. Fought Will Brooks, did guillotine him. Lost Charles Oliveira actually back in 2015 too by guillotine. Chad Mendez. When he gets that step up, he usually loses. But that does count for something. Experience. Wow, I actually don't remember that. Wow, he fought Charles Oliveira a 3rd time with the illegal knee, no contest. Wow, I actually genuinely did not remember that. That's crazy. Wow. Fought Charles Oliveira 3 times, lost twice, no contest once. But yeah, if you go down this record a little bit, he has some good experience against top guys. Fought Tyson Griffin back in 2010, when Tyson was fucking pretty solid. That's pretty decent competition on his resume. But at this point of his career, 36 and is a bit of an older 36. He's been fighting for a long time. While he hasn't taken like an outrageous amount of damage, just dude's super durable. I just feel like, man, like he has a good guillotine. Yeah, like his submissions are pretty solid. But I really feel like that's the only. I mean, he has some power in his hands. He could catch Movzar with something big, but I don't see him knocking Movzar out, who's shown nothing but durability so far. I think really it's like guillotine, really just guillotine. Like I don't see. I've gone through and I really don't see him taking Movzar's back. Movzar's so poised there, anyways. Even if he gets Movzar in a bad position, I think Movzar will work his way out. I really just feel like as long as Movzar doesn't shoot in crazy and put himself into some tight ass guillotine, which does happen sometimes. What was the fight I'm thinking of? One of the twins that came off Dana White Contender Series. He fought guillotine specialist, old country boy, and it was literally my breakdown was like the only way he loses if he rushes into a guillotine, he gets guillotined. Somebody tell me in the comments who that was. The Dana White Contender Series, one of two brothers. They went on there, made his UFC debut. He's a big favorite, and then he dove into that guillotine. Man, both their names are escaping me right now. It's killing me. I'm gonna remember as soon as this video's done. But Movzar just so many more paths to victory. I think he has an edge on the feet. I think he has the edge on the ground. I think he has the edge on the clinch. I'm gonna give Movzar. But if you're gonna chase Movzar, I think the play is taking Movzar by decision. Nick has shown. He's a durable guy. He's hard to finish. Movzar, if there's one thing you want to knock him for, it's, not the best finisher. So I'm going to take Movzar by decision, and that might be a play for me. Moving on, we got Khalil Roundtree taking on Marcin Prachniow. And this should be a good one. I mean, seeing Khalil Roundtree to start off at like minus 350, minus 340, I was like, wait, what? I mean, I get why if you like when you look at Prachniow on paper coming off 3 straight losses by finish, but Roundtree, not somebody you typically would want to trust that much at minus 350, but I get it after going through the tape a little bit more. I mean, Prachniow been finished in the first round 3 straight times. Mike Rodriguez, Magomed Ankalaev, can't really give him too much shit for that one. But Sam Alvey, that's a bad one. And I always say Sam Alvey, people give him a little too much shit because I actually, he's easy to hate on, but man, even though you would think it'd be the opposite, dude's literally smiling Sam. But people like to give him a lot of shit because of that. He's like goofy, they don't take him serious. But, I mean, hey, if there's one thing he can do, it's crack. He has a lot of power, and, he connected, and hey, it can happen, but still doesn't look great. And I would still obviously say Khalil Roundtree, better striking, better power than what the hell is this shit? Than Sam Alvey. But before that he was looking good. It's just, man, when you take that step up and you move from some of these, I mean, even though it's one championship, when you move over to the UFC, and even before then, Rakic, it's kind of been, anytime Prachniow has gotten a step up, he's not only lost, but he's been finished. He's been finished by strikes all 4 times. And, yeah, I mean, I do think that this fight, if you look, not only does Prachniow always get finished in the first round, and he comes out guns a-blazing to get finishes, or to look for finishes in the very least in the first round, then you got Roundtree, kind of the same story. I mean, lost to Kudalaba, lost to Johnny Walker, both times gotten finished in the first round. But, they put him in there against Gokhan Saki to be like a sacrifice, and he starched him. That was pretty crazy. And then Paul Craig knocked him out in the first round. Daniel Jolly knocked him out in the first round. Tyson Pedro knocks him out in the chokes him in the first round. A lot of first round finishes on both of these. Corey Hendricks and Ultimate Fighter choked him out in the first round as well. And lots of first round finishes on both these ways. Khalil Roundtree, like I said, hard guy to want to bet at like minus 350, even though I do think the path of victory is clearly there. Tons of power, high level striking, went out to Thailand, worked with Tiger Muay Thai, got his striking on another level, and now he's facing a guy who is susceptible to the knockout, doesn't look the most durable, and when he's had these step ups, they haven't gone well. He's currently 0-3 in the UFC with 3 losses in the first round, all by TKO, KO, first round. So not not great if you're fighting a guy like Khalil Roundtree, but I do think that price a little heavy. Maybe you take Khalil Roundtree, knockout in the first round, or you just take the under 1.5. I know it's juiced. It's like minus 180 last time I checked, but I honestly think that might be the play, because both these guys just show that they don't like to fight very, very long. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Khalil Roundtree, first round KO. I want to see what they look like on the scales, but, so far it's looking like Khalil Roundtree. Probably going to lock in a little something on first round knockout, because I do think that Prachniow, I don't know, man. I just think they're going to go out there and just trade. And I think while some people have knocked Roundtree for not being the most durable, I don't think it's durability that's lost him these fights. While Prachniow does look like he's not the best at taking a shot. So I'm going to take Roundtree, the more skilled striker with more power and more durability, and knowing that these boys are just going to go out there and slug it out. Haven't locked it in yet, but might. Khalil Roundtree, first round KO. Moving on. Next up, we got Sarah McMahon, the Olympian, taking on Juliana Pena. And Juliana Pena, we saw last taking on JDR, former featherweight champ. But we did, in that fight, it was kind of crazy. Gave JDR her first submission win. When I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and Juliana Pena, I had money on JDR, so it got a little dicey when Juliana was doing pretty good. She was looking like, close round. She could have been edging it. It was very close. I'd have to go back and watch, but I remember being nervous. I remember being like, this is getting dicey. And then, dove in a little too desperately in that third round. Late, too. Yeah, 3:25 in the third. And, JDR snatched up the guillotine. Good on her to see it there. And latched it up, put her to sleep. And, Juliana Pena hasn't looked that great lately. I mean, her 2 losses, JDR and Valentina Shevchenko, so really high-level fighters. Can't give her too much shit for that. But, beat Nico Montano by decision. I get everyone's like, former world champion. Oh, man, that makes me cringe. And Kat Zingano, it's a good win. And even Just Guy, people like to shit on Just Guy, but that's not a terrible win. It's just the layoffs, and you hearing her talk about if she still wants to do it. And I know Sarah McMahon's 40 years old, but, man, she looks great, in great shape. You go to her Instagram, you see her around, you see she's training hard. Beat Lena Landsberg in the last fight. Okay, you can't, it's nothing crazy. Had some grappling bouts over there at Quintet. Always nice to see fighters staying busy when they don't have fights. Got triangled by Marion Renault, not great, and got also submitted by Kaylin Vieira. But, so, that's not great. Neither one of these fighters, if you, on paper, it would seem like Juliana Pena maybe should be the favorite, but, because, losing to Marion Renault and Kaylin Vieira, and then your wins are Lena Landsberg, Gina Mazzani, your last 2, not great, but, man, I just feel like styles make fights, and, the 40-year-old, not just as in general 40 years old, can scare a lot of people, including me, even though I think people are a little crazy, like 39 years old, they're like, oh, not, they act like that's so different from 40. Like, it's not like you turn 40 and all of a sudden you just fall off a cliff. Like, I get why people are like that, but I think it's not so much just the number. It's like where they're actually at, their case-by-case basis. Sarah McMahon is an Olympian, super disciplined, super fucking hard worker, and she's not slacking. She's not like one. Even if she is thinking about retirement, it don't look it, and her training doesn't look like she's taking a step back. So styles make fights, man, and I do think Juliana Pena has the edge on the feet, but Sarah McMahon has the edge in the grappling, and I think whoever gets on top here is gonna win the fight. If it stays on the feet for 15 minutes, then I do think Juliana Pena wins. But I think Sarah McMahon, Olympian wrestler, is going to go out there and get a couple takedowns. And I know Juliana Pena is a good wrestler herself. She's not easy to take down, but even though her takedown percentage isn't very great. But I just feel like Sarah McMahon, all she needs to do, get a couple takedowns, get some control. The striking's going to be relatively close. The takedowns are going to be the difference. Give me Sarah McMahon by decision. I'm probably not going to play it. Considered it because it is a close line. But women's MMA, lower level women's MMA, 40-year-old, a lot of X factors. I'm probably just going to go ahead, take a step back and watch that one. And let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got Brad Tavares taking on ACJ. Both of these guys coming off two losses in a row. And Antonio Carlos Jr., man, I've been high on this guy for a while. Like, you know, I followed him in jiu-jitsu and training over at ATT. And, man, I remember on this, where is it at? It was, which fight was it? I think it was back this Nunes-Rousey card when he beat Marvin Vettori. And, I mean, Marvin Vettori wasn't the package that he is now. Like, he's completed his game a lot better. He was pretty one-dimensional back then, but yeah, I mean, that was a good win. And Antonio is huge for the weight class, has a size advantage here on Brad Tavares. And, like, obviously, you got to say when you're talking about him, wizard on the mat, like, hard fucking guy to get off of you, high-level jiu-jitsu, and like I said, just a big-ass guy who can control you and wait for the submissions to come. The problem is, man, his gas tank is just not there. Ian Heinisch, like, you saw him take advantage of that. And then Uriah Hall, it's like, he got him into some bad positions, but just wasn't able to get the finish. And when that happens, it's like you see him just start to slow down. And then, if he's, like, once that gas tank goes, it's like, the submissions fall off. And then he's just desperately trying to just hold you down. And, you know, you would think, you know, at 30 years old, he still has time to improve. And I still think, even though, you know, Brad Tavares, he's only 33, but I don't know. I feel like there's more left in the tank for Antonio. The only problem is, like, man, if he can't get Brad Tavares down, like, Brad Tavares, people forget, like, this man, Shabazian, Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Nate Marquardt, and that was in 2015, Tim Bosch, Yoel Romero, Lorenz Larkin. Like, this guy's fought everybody. And, pause. And I'm back. My dog likes to open my door. Just pushed it right on open. But, yeah, I mean, Brad Tavares, man, he has a lot of good experience just fighting high-level opponents. And if Antonio can't get those takedowns early, and really, like, he needs to really get on top and sap some of Brad Tavares' will there early on, because that second round, I feel like ACJ wins that first round. He's going to probably get a couple takedowns, get some control. If he can't get the submission, I think he'll win the first round. That second round is going to be everything, because I really feel like that third round, unless Antonio has, like, just really, like, controlled him for the majority of the first two rounds and really, like, not, and he's, you know, closed the gap on some of those cardio issues, we're going to see Brad Tavares start to take over late in the fight, because on the feet, especially once Antonio starts to slow down, it could get dicey, because Brad is a tough guy, and he's hard to finish. And he's not going to gas like Antonio is. It's not that Brad Tavares has, like, an endless gas tank, but compared to Antonio, man, we've just seen that second half of the fight, it can get real dicey, and his striking isn't the best, Antonio. So if he can't get the takedown and get some control, he's just gonna get real desperate out there, and it could get a little rough. I do think that with Antonio being the underdog here, the value is probably on him because I think this is such a close fight. I'm not gonna bet this. I'm gonna sit it out. I mean, I won't say I'm not because I'm still like on the trigger to maybe take Antonio by decision because it's like plus 350 or some crazy shit. Because everybody basically thinks he's sub or bust. But yeah, I mean, I think especially if that line gets a little wider, Antonio by decision could be a good play. But other than that, I'm probably gonna sit it out. Brad's super tough guy to finish, and like, man, we've seen, like I said, if Antonio can't get that early sub, or at least like kind of just get that early domination and really sap the guy's will, he really falls off the table, and he's just not that dangerous on the feet. So give me Antonio Carlos Jr. by decision, and I might play it. I don't know yet. I'm gonna take a look at the line, like once it's done, because it looks like it is people betting Brad here. So if that drops even more, maybe I will throw a little something on it. But moving on, we got a replacement fight. After Armin's, both of these guys' opponents got pulled. Matt Fravola's opponent got cut from the UFC the same day and pulled from the fight because he broke COVID protocol trying to sneak somebody onto the into the hotel, so not smart. And so yeah, I mean, Armin's opponent pulled out. I don't even think they said he had just medical issue. It might have been like probably some weight cutting. But I mean, this fight here, now we got huge line. They just opened it up. I think it's like minus 550 or something for Armin. Definitely crazy. I get why. I think he does have the striking advantage and the jiu-jitsu advantage for Vola. Better takedowns, he's a grinder, he's scrappy. The problem with Favola, man, is we've just seen that I don't know, he just doesn't take shots very well, man. When he gets hit, even though the record doesn't really show it, it's like when you see him get hit, it just doesn't seem like he can take it that well. Like, obviously in the Polo Reyes, it came to fruition to the maximum. But in the Londo fight, and even in the Luis Pena fight, it's just, you just see that when he eats shots, it just doesn't seem to react very well. And I think Armin can really tag him with some stuff. I also think that on the mat, if Favola isn't careful, I never like to bank on people getting submissions from their back, but Armin's crafty, got good submission game, and you go through Armin's wins, and Olivier, Aubin Mercier, Davi Ramos, both by decision, and then before then, not the toughest of competition, decent, some decent fighters, just not very well known, but it's a big step up. He had his UFC debut against Islam, was basically thrown to the absolute wolves, and took him to decision. So I feel like his stock went up after that. And then they gave him Olivier as kind of a bone because they had thrown him to Islam. And he did what he was supposed to. Couldn't get him out of there, but good fight. Training over at Tiger Muay Thai, so you know that she's working on the striking. And it does seem like the striking's getting better every fight. I really just... I would love to bet Armin, but because there's not a prop that jumps out to me as to how he's going to finish this, because he's 24 years old, I don't want to bet 5-6 to 1. So this is going to be probably like the biggest stay away for me. I can't bet almost 6 to 1 on a 24-year-old guy who really, beat Davi Ramos and Olivier Mercier. But, Favola only 8-1, but I don't know. The guys he's training over there with, Gracie Tampa.
Share your world with the Samsung Galaxy
Got a solid little circle of fighters around him. Just trains hard, man. Everybody in the around him and everybody like in the know is always talking about this guy as just like someone who like kills himself in training. So even though he is 30 years old, not too young, not too old, he's still there. He's got time for improvement. I do think like he's gonna continue to get better for the next few years. It's just can he avoid that big shot? So I don't think I have the goal to fucking take a shot on my boy Matt Frevola, but I do think that this line is a little wide for me for on a 24-year-old. I got Armin by decision, but I'm gonna go ahead and stay off this one, and let's move on to the next fight. Next up, we got another women's fight. We got Marina Rodriguez taking on Amanda Hebus, and Hebus coming in at minus 330. And I get why. She's been looking really good. Winning there against Paige Van Zandt, absolutely just outclassed her real quick, submitted her easily. Ronda Marcos, took her to decision, but, she looked good. Same against Mackenzie Dern, so that's two pretty decent grapplers. Emily Whitmire was thrown to the absolute wolves there. And she did choke her out. Lots of good submissions there so far. I mean, not too many fights, but that armbar was nice. That Riniga choke was nice, and then Tanya fight. Okay, we watched that one on the stream, and not the highest level of competition. And when she fought Polyana Viana, got caught with that big shot, and Polyana not exactly known for having some like high level striking. Marina Rodriguez, the better striker. The problem with Marina here is, man, that takedown defense has been rough. Marina in her last fight got grinded by Carla Esparza. It was a close fight, and Carla's, veteran. It's not a loss to beat her up over, but, just showed that this the takedown defense. I don't know, I'm yawning. I really did not sleep, though. So I guess I do. Carla Esparza just showed that Marina is a good prospect. She is getting better, even though she is 33, so I guess you don't want to call her a prospect. But the takedown defense, though, leaves something to be desired. Cynthia Calvillo took advantage of it too, Ronda Marcos. But, both draws, good fights. On the feet, she's really dynamic. She has a lot of weapons, good knees, good elbows, throws in combination. She's about it. She goes after it. Man, it's just that takedown defense. It's just, can Amanda get it to the ground? This is a serious style matchup in the sense of just like, if it's on the feet, it's an advantage to Marina. And it's not that Amanda doesn't have striking. Her striking is probably, she's a young girl. She's a lot of hype behind her. She's working hard. I'm sure her striking's getting better. But on the feet, Marina is going to have the advantage. It's just, can she keep the fight on the feet? How long can she keep the fight on the feet? I do side with Amanda Ribas to get her down and probably submit her. Oh, man. Holy shit. But, man, that line is a little wide for me, and I get it. Why? Because Amanda is a big prospect, and a lot of people like her. She's been kind of blowing up for up-and-coming, like, woman fighter. But, yeah, overall, I think the line's a little wide. Maybe you take Amanda by sub, but overall, honestly, it's going to be another pass for me. Wouldn't want to put Amanda in my parlays. I've used her in some parlays recently, but in this one, I don't know. I do think she should win. She should win. I think it should be about 2-1 favorite. If it was 2-1, probably throw into a parlay or two. But man, I don't know. Over 3-1, when we've seen that the striking has some room for improvement, and Marina, I don't think she's gonna starch Amanda, but can she outland her and win 2 rounds if Amanda struggles to get the takedowns? Could happen. So I'm gonna take Amanda. I'm gonna take her by submission, but just a little cause for concern with that line, so I'm gonna stay off of it. Next up, we got a good fight. We got Andrew Sanchez taking on Magomed Muradov. And Andrew Sanchez won me some money in his last fight. Got that big knockout in the first round on Wellington Turman. And that was a nice win coming off that loss to Marvin Vettori, which you can't beat him up for because that was a year ago, and Marvin Vettori's really been coming into his own lately. Before that, he fought Marc Andre and Marcus Perez, 2 decisions. Andrew Sanchez, he's a grinder, man. He's a tough dude. He likes to just grind dudes, man. He's got wrestling's not crazy. Striking's, it's a little wild. Pretty hittable guy. Gets hit a lot, actually. I think he absorbs 5 strikes a minute. Which is a lot for the UFC. Grinder, tough guy, durable. I mean, pretty durable, but hittable. We have seen him finished. So I say he's durable. He has been finished 3-4 times, but is it just 3? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I mean, an Anthony Smith fight, he was looking good, and then just slowed down. And that third round came, and Anthony Smith, the comeback kid, man, couldn't beat him up for that one too much. That's how Anthony wins his fights. But this Ryan James fight, this one was rough for me. Really thought he should have won this fight. It was the Ultimate Fighter finale, and man, just got caught in that in the third round, and I mean he's been finished by strikes 3 times. So someone I say is he's tough. He fights out of TriStar. He's willing to get hit. It's just, man, in this fight now against Magomed Muradov from the money team, 24-6 has some losses. So it's kind of weird with the money team. I've been hearing people talking about that. That's a salty record. I'm surprised Floyd picked him up. It's man, this kid's good though, man. And I like seeing loss on the record, man. That's where you learn, especially as for a younger guy. I mean, he's 30 now, but he got some losses early in his career, and he seems to be getting better. I mean, look at this. Started off 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, 3, 5, 5 and 4. I don't know why I did the math when it's right there, but lately, beating Alessio DeCherico, who we just saw get that big win on Joaquin Buckley, beating Trevor Smith, okay, decent, beating Wendell Oliveira, okay, decent. Had a lot of fights get canceled there, and I think a lot of people don't really want to fight this guy. I mean, and not saying that's why these fights are getting pulled, but because I think he had to pull at least out of that Kevin Holland one, and then one of these two too. At least 2 of these were him. I think Antonio pulled out of this fight, but Magomed, he's training with the money team for a reason. Dude's striking and the boxing is legit. Dude cracks, but I don't know. I mean, I think this line, I wanted to when I first saw it. I was like, man, Andrew Sanchez might be a live dog here, but Magomed's the line this isn't right. He's a bigger line now, or he's a bigger favorite now. Let me see if I can pull it up because I don't want to. Yeah, Magomed. Not too much alpha. Yeah, no, -145, -143. Yeah, I mean, I thought the line had grown a little bit for him, but I think the play really, if you look at the props on this one, Magomed by decision is actually Magomed by decision, yeah, +300 plus. It was +333 the other day. I should have jumped on that, but I think Magomed. We could see Andrew having a little bit of trouble getting him to the mat, especially hopefully what you don't see if you want Magomed to get this decision, or if you're wanting Andrew to win in general. So hopefully he doesn't come out and try to fight how he did in the last fight. You can get away with that against Wellington Turman, who's a pretty hittable guy himself, striking, got some room for improvement. Against Magomed, man, his striking so much cleaner. If Andrew doesn't, he needs to grind him. He doesn't want to go out there and just immediately shoot and just get desperate with it. But man, take take the first like 30 seconds, get your timing, and then the game plan should be immediately like, let's set these strikes up into a clinch. Let's set these strikes up into a single. Like, we need to get this guy down. If Andrew gets on top of Mcmahon, we could see like, I think Andrew would get the win. I think he'd probably get a decision win, get 2 rounds, but I don't know. I got this feeling that Magomed's gonna keep him on the feet, but I don't think he's gonna put him away. I know we've seen Andrew get knocked out 3 times, but he's a tough guy. And unless he comes out guns blazing like in the last fight, which I feel like he would be smart enough not to do, I think he'll make it to the bell. I think a good player would be Muradov by decision, especially over plus 300. I think that's a good play. Turn into favorite minus 145 into a 3-1 underdog play. I think there's good value on that. I think there's a good chance this one's going to go to decision. And not that I don't think it's going to be a good fight, because I do think it's going to be a good fight. I just think these guys will make it to the bell. I got Magmed by decision. But, I mean, this is a close fight, and I haven't put money on it yet for a reason. Kind of wish I did when the by decision prop was like plus 340, plus 333. But at this point, 300, it's like right on the nail of like where I think it almost should be. So it's a little value there. But moving into the next fight, we got Just Guy taking on Joanne Calderwood. Here we go, evil. Here we go. Who? Just had to get one of those out real quick because I know that's what you came here for. Just Guy, female cringe lord. I'm sorry. I really try not to go there, but it's impossible when I break down her fights. We got to pick them here, and Just Guy coming off that loss to Cynthia Cal. She had a grappling bout, I should say, not too long ago. What is that, like 7 months ago? Lost to an armbar. But coming off that fight against Cynthia Calvillo, I was big on Cynthia in that fight. Won some good money on her that night, and I don't love betting on low to mid-level women's MMA, but I knew stylistically Cynthia posed some problems, and that was music to my eyes. That was music to my eyes watching that. Before that, she actually beat Viviane Araújo, took her to a greasy decision, and we all know what happened before that. The Valentina Shevchenko head kick knockout. That was bad. But she's fought like as much shit as Just Guy gets. Cynthia Calvillo, Araújo, Shevchenko. Of course, Araújo, big, unexperienced in that fight, but inexperienced when she came into that fight. But Kaylin Chukagian, Jessica Rose Clark, Miesha Tate, Betch Correa, Sarah McMahon, Juliana Pena, Miesha Tate again, Leslie Smith, Alexis Davis, Sarah Kaufman. I mean, she's fought like everyone, really. I mean, everyone in this division for a while, she's fought at some point. Wins and losses, but she's shown that in this fight, styles make fights, and while I do think Joanne has better striking, has better jiu-jitsu, probably even maybe better technical wrestling, but the thing is, Just Guy's just got a strength and power advantage. And then while Joanne seems to be looking in better shape this time, man, she looked like shit at her last fight. She looked like shit at the weigh-in. She looked like shit in the fight. She said she was having some sort of like sickness, that she wasn't feeling good. She passed out after the fight. So hopefully that was like a one-time thing. But man, she let me down in that Jennifer Maia fight. I can't lie. I thought she was pretty safe pick in that fight, as safe as lower-level women's MMA can get. And she let me down. She looked terrible in that fight. That was not a good fight for her. Like I said, I think she has all the technique in the world, but not all the technique in the world, but she has some advantages here for sure. But man, I just feel like this could end up just playing out on the feet, slow, back and forth on striking affair. And if so, I mean, Just Guy could just even if you see Calderwood outland her with more volume, Just Guy, like I said, a little bit bigger, a little bit more power, a little bit stronger. Could be tough for Jessica to get a couple takedowns. She likes to mix in her takedowns, but it could be tough on Just Guy. And if so, it's going to play out on the feet, and they're just going to – it's going to be a shit show, close decision? And if so, it could go either way, man. I really have like no lean if that happens. I mean, I would love to bet Jessica Rose Clark, but after that last performance, man, I need to see her get back in there and show me that, like, that was just a one-time thing before I'm willing to be confident on her. So, I am going to take Jessica Rose Clark by decision, but I'm not confident in it. I'm not betting this fight. It's a straight-up pass for me. Let's move into our co-main. Man, God, why is that the third to last fight? Like, what? Why is that on the main card? Let alone right there. But anyways, co-main event. This is a fire fight, and I've honestly gone back and forth. This fight is so tough, man. You got Dan Hooker. Got the tall, lanky, super durable, good striking, good front chokes. City Kickboxing, one of the best gyms in the game right now. Coming off that loss to Dustin Poirier, but it was a close fight. He took those first 2 rounds, and then Dustin took the last 3. You saw Dustin had to dig deep for that. Hooker was able to, they both scored a couple takedowns, but Hooker was able to take Dustin down, which was pretty surprising. Just one with his build and with his style, and Dustin Poirier, not easy to take down. Both the Dustin Poirier and the Paul Felder fight, you've seen him kind of fall off a cliff after the first couple rounds. His volume, he just becomes so much more hittable. The Paul Felder fight, some people thought Paul won. I did in the moment too. As I rewatch it, I kind of understand it was close. I think I might have been a little biased because I think I had I can't remember. I think I had money on Paul Felder, but I know I was rooting for him. That's my boy. But yeah, we've seen Hooker's really durable, super tough, crazy heart. Dude has no quit in him. That Edson Barboza fight was hard to watch. He got absolutely brutalized, but he would not quit. His body literally had to give up on him. And other than that, just shown insane durability. Made crazy improvements. And some good names on here. Ross Pearson, Mark Diakese, Jim Miller, Gilbert Burns. Now that was lightweight. Gilbert Burns was a little bit different. But James Vick, Iaquinta, Felder. Good fights with Dustin Poirier. Stuck in there with Edson as long as he absolutely could, getting brutalized. And he seems to just be getting better and better, and I really like where he's at. It's that cardio that usually scares me a little bit. But, man, it's a 3-round fight. It's pretty interesting. The only reason that the 3 rounds might not fully work against him is because he's fighting Michael Chandler. And Michael Chandler, if he's smart, he mixes in some takedowns. If it was 5 rounds, I don't think he'd be able to wrestle Hooker for 5 rounds. But can he wrestle him for 2 rounds? Maybe he can. The thing is, Chandler, where he does have the power advantage, dude, people underestimate how hard he hits. His striking's good. His defense is solid on the feet. The problem is he doesn't have that durability that Dan Hooker has. And he's at a sizable reach disadvantage. And I always say reach is not an advantage unless they know how to use it. I hate when people are like, oh, he has a reach advantage, so shut up. Like, that doesn't mean anything unless they actually are good at fighting at range. There's people with a reach advantage that, like, it hurts them. They have that tall man defense. Arms out, chin up, moving straight backwards and shit. And that shit catches up with you. But, Hooker is a hittable guy. And Chandler cracks. That's why this fight is just... I think Chandler can take him down, but can he repeatedly take him down? Can he take him down and avoid the front chokes? Hangman Hooker for a reason. Dude's got a sick guillotine, good Darces, good anaconda. And we did see Chandler get knocked out by Patricio Pitbull, a career featherweight. And while you could say the loss to Brent Primus was a little fluky, they came back and rematched him, and Brent took him to 5 rounds. And I don't think Primus could last against any top lightweights in the UFC. Not trying to shit on the guy. There's levels. He was fucking 7-0 coming to that fight. I don't know. It's just weird to see. And Chandler, like, these wins, Brent Primus, Sydney Outlaw, a really washed up Benson Henderson. I'm sorry, I hate saying shit like that, but it's the truth. And a lot of these wins, they're just not they're not guys who would compete in the UFC. That's just facts, man. I mean, if you go way back here, okay, the Eddie Alvarez win, huge. Patricky Pitbull, that's really good win. But, I mean, there's just not a whole lot of, like, UFC caliber wins. And then, you know, Will Brooks twice. The second one he got absolutely beat the fuck out of. Just not a good look. And I do think he has a wrestling advantage. He has the power advantage. Probably has the overall striking advantage. Well, not striking advantage, but striking advantage in the sense of he cracks and Hooker's very hittable. I do think overall Hooker has a striking advantage in the sense of if he can avoid the big shot, he'll outland him, score better, and win rounds against Chandler. It's just like if anybody gets finished on the feet by strikes, well, then again, I don't know, because it goes back to that Chandler durability. This just shows why I think it's the biggest toss-up on the card. I do think the betting public was right to bring that line down from like minus 185 Hooker, where it started, to like minus 120 or whatever, minus 130, where it's at now. Because it's like Michael Hooker, super hittable, but he's durable. Chandler, good defense, not super hittable, but he's not very durable. When he gets cracked, he can get finished. Hooker, not the greatest power. Chandler, great power. Hooker can be taken down, even though his takedown defense is pretty solid. It's actually really good. But against who? And, you know, Chandler, this is a step up in the wrestling department for Hooker. But can he avoid the front chokes too? Can he do that for 2 rounds and win rounds? It's like, I've gone back and forth. This fight is very hard to choose. It's a great matchmaking. Overall, I got to lean Dan Hooker. Just a little bit higher level experience, which is weird considering you're thinking like he's kind of up and coming. And Chandler's well established, been a champion. But it's just like when you actually break down these fights, it's like, okay, old Benson Henderson, Sidney Outlaw, a featherweight that knocked him out, Brent Primus twice, Brandon Gertz, Goldie Yamaguchi. Okay, that was actually one of his better wins. Patricky Pitbull, that was a good win. Those are like his 2 best wins. Them 2 and Eddie Alvarez. You know, I mean, the first Benson win was good. Yeah, I mean, just not a whole lot of names here that compete in the UFC. I'm sorry. And, like, people are going to want to be like, no, that's not true. No, man, come on. Like, the lightweight division in the UFC is the best division, I think, in combat sports. And those guys just would not be ranked in the UFC lightweight division. That's true. So give me Dan Hooker. Man, it could be a late TKO, 3rd round TKO. It could be a decision. I'm not even going to try to pick a prop on this one. If it was like dead even, I would probably bet Dan Hooker. But since he's like minus 130 at the moment, I'm probably just going to lay off of it at the moment. Maybe a live betting spot. Because we know these guys so well. Let's not even necessarily as clean cut as, let's see if Chandler wins the first round. Like, no, I just mean like, let's see the first round. Let's see if he's finding those spots to crack Hooker. Let's see if maybe he takes Hooker down, but you see him starting to gas by the end of the first. And then you get Hooker as an underdog, as like 2-1 underdog because he lost the first round, or maybe even better. But you know Chandler might be starting to gas here. It could get dicey because we've seen Hooker gas, but usually I think Hooker has 3 rounds of gas. Plus, you know, Dustin Poirier and Paul Felder marching you down, you know, that can gas you out. Not that Michael Chandler can't do the same thing, especially if he mixes in some takedowns, but, you know, I think Hooker can land the better volume. It's just, can he stay away from the big punch and just defend those takedowns, man? If he can defend a couple takedowns early, if he can defend those first 2 takedowns, I really think it's just going to be like a mental, it's just going to take a lot out of Chandler, and I think we'll start to see Hooker start to break him down. Both these guys are all hard, though, man. This is going to be a scrap. It's a great co-main. I'm going to go Dan Hooker by decision or 3rd round TKO, but let's move on to this main event. And if you haven't yet, make sure you leave a like for the video. Leave a sub. That helps out a lot. And leave me a comment, man. I always respond to everything. My Twitter's in the caption below. So I will be live tweeting out any bets and always just talking MMA. It's like what I have a Twitter for. And if you didn't know, I stream on Twitch every day, especially all the fight cards. I will be live for these fights. I'm gonna be breaking them down, watching them with the friends. Just fucking gonna be a good time. Come through. Twitch.tv/Cody Dank. The Twitter is Cody MMA. Yeah, man, come through, check me out. Like I said, live every day, live for every card. And shit, man, before I waste any more time, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor 2. Man, I'm excited for this shit. I mean, so is the whole world. Conor coming in as a 3-1 favorite. It's Conor McGregor. If he was supposed to be, if his name was Mike Smith, he would probably be 2-1, maybe -220. Judging this off styles and how the first fight went alone, that Conor McGregor name is gonna bump that up. You got Dustin Poirier. I mean, how can you not love the guy? One of the most fan-loved fighters in the sport, including by me, one of my favorite fighters. Him, Tony, and Max, probably my favorite fighters in the world. So the heart wants to say Dustin, but man, the head, spoiler alert, I gotta go Conor. And I'll tell you why, Conor McGregor, man, we have seen the inactivity, obviously. We haven't got to see him too many times recently. The Donald Cerrone fight, I'm almost sick and tired of hearing about. It was a stylistic dream for Conor. It was a perfect comeback fight. Donald Cerrone is a slow starter. Conor, one of the fastest starters of all time. Donald doesn't have the durability he once did and was never like the most durable guy, especially nowadays. And then has trouble with southpaws, has trouble with heavy boxers, and that's everything Conor is. Like, on paper, this was just a dream for Conor. And he came out and did exactly what he was supposed to do and thoroughly dominated him in 40 seconds. Then Khabib, it's the opposite. It's a stylistic nightmare. The line should have been way less, or way wider. I made money on that. Those are always my favorite fights, when Jorge or a Conor or one of these guys fight and the line is just not what it should be because they're so loved. I knew Usman was gonna maul Jorge. I knew Khabib was gonna maul Conor. But man, it's like, that is just, people are like, oh, Dustin should just come in and wrestle. It's like, Dustin doesn't do that though. Yeah, he mixed in some takedowns against Hooker. Yeah, he'll mix in some takedowns against Max Holloway in the first fight at least. Or against like, it depends, against Anthony Pettis. If a guy has a hole there, so I could see they clinch up against the cage, especially if we're into round 3, 4, 5. You could see Dustin for sure. I love this picture. You could see Dustin try to work some takedowns, like I said, mostly in the clinch, mostly on the cage. Are we gonna see Dustin come out and just shoot a double in the open? No, because one, that's not what he does. Two, you guys, and you got a lot of people, especially on my stream, y'all call me a Conor hater. Y'all need to stop saying Conor can't grapple. Y'all need to stop saying Conor can't defend a takedown. Conor has some of the best takedown defense in the division. Conor's takedown defense is very, very good. Go watch the Khabib fight. As much of a one-sided fight as it was, and I'm at the same time get tired of hearing how much Khabib, or how close that, like, oh man, Conor didn't land a single significant shot in that fight. But at the same time, one thing he did do is show that his wrestling is improving. Showed that he is not easy to take down. And, I mean, Khabib had to work to get him down. Khabib had to tire him out. Khabib had to, fight a perfect fight. And fucking, it was one-sided. He did maul Conor. But that isn't, like, styles make fights, man. And Dustin isn't going to come out here. If Dustin were to come out here and do what he doesn't do, and just come out with a singlet and just shoot a bunch of takedowns, Conor's going to stuff at least most of them. Dustin will gas and Conor will knock him out. Dustin has to do what he does. He should try to mix in a takedown here and there, especially later in the fight, especially if he can sap some of Conor's energy first, where he's easier to be taken down. And like I said, if he can get Conor up against the cage, I think a weakness of Conor is, now people are going to want to say, oh, watch the Donald fight. Yeah, styles make fights, man. Conor, like, even Nate, like Nate as his weakness in that clinch too. And Conor, like it was pretty even in the clinch there. There was points where Nate was able to dominate him in the clinch, and I think there's fighters in this division who could have advantages there in the clinch. I don't think Dustin has a super big advantage in the clinch, but I think he's gonna have a bit of an advantage in the clinch, especially if he can put Conor up against the cage. That's much easier said than done though. Conor, everybody knows, crazy power. Don't think he hits as hard. If you were to put him on like the punching bag machine, I think Justin Gaethje hits harder. But it's not like Conor always said. Precision beats power. Timing beats speed. Like Conor's timing, his fight IQ, that is what makes him that next level. It's not that he just his left hand. Like we've seen, like it's not just power. He's like. It's not just power. When he got in there against Floyd, his left hand and his punching power in general didn't look anything abnormal. And the Khabib fight, it was like there was nothing on it. I don't know, because it's just like he's got to catch you. He wants to get you in these certain slots. He wants to catch you on the half step. He wants to catch you mid exchange, like he did Aldo. The timing on him is just crazy. His fight IQ, next level. Early on, he is a front runner. Like people take that as an insult, but like that is a fact. Conor is a front runner. In this second Nate fight, he did show that he's made improvements there. He did gas in that fight, but he recovered, which was crazy, man. Because when he went back there to the corner after that second round, I thought it was over. Honestly, I was like, oh my god, like. Even his corner, you could tell the demeanor in there was like, wow, Conor's about to lose again. This is going to be it. If he loses to Nate twice, this is going to be it. But he pulled together, man. He got a second wind. And, you know, while people like me feel like in those close rounds, Nate did win the fifth on all the judges' scorecards, but the third and fourth, when Nate's coming forward and Conor's backing up, looking at the clock, it edges it to Nate for me. I personally thought Nate edged that fight. I understand completely why other people don't. In my personal opinion, Nate had him closer to getting finished than Conor did. Conor had knockdowns, but when Nate was going down, he was eyes on him, ready. He was getting clobbered off his feet, but he wasn't near to getting finished. Was when he had Conor up against that cage and was unloading those body shots, body head, and was just going to fucking town on Conor. It looked like Conor was about to be done. It looked like the fight was going to be over. Credit to Conor to coming out in that third round, reinvigorated and won that round, got back to the leg kicks, got back to the game plan, slowed him down, and just in general coming into that second fight with a new game plan. Like I said, fight IQ. What does Nate do bad at? Checking leg kicks. He doesn't do it. He'll let you eat them. So not only are you going to fuck his legs up, but you're going to score endless points on the judges. So that's what Conor did, and it was smart. And then he clinched him up. Even though I don't think the clinch is a strength of Conor, he realized that the clinch is another weak point of Nate's, and he clinched him when he needed breaks. Took breaks there, back to the leg kicks. He hit a good sweep on Nate. Another reason y'all need to stop saying this man can't grapple. Conor can grapple. And this is coming from someone who people like to label a Conor hater, which I'm not. I just am a realist. I bet MMA. You got to look at this shit black and white. But Conor, great takedown defense. Actually, I would say great grappling. Fantastic takedown defense. Very hard to take down. Chad Mendes, okay, yeah, he can take you down. Dude's next level wrestling. Khabib, yeah, he can take you down. Next level wrestling. And he stuffed some of Khabib's shots. Khabib is just, he gonna keep shooting until he gets your ass down. Dude's cardio and relentlessness is just next level. But in this fight, man, I just feel like the styles, man, first of all, it's a mental thing. Conor not only beat him the first time, but he knocked him out. Statistically, that's going to go to the person who won that first fight, especially when it's by knockout. And, man, Dustin has had some struggles against southpaws. He's had some struggles against these long boxers. Man, I just feel like you know, Conor in that first 2 rounds, he's just going to be so dangerous. If Dustin can manage to survive that first two and a half rounds, it's going to get dicey. We're going to see that it's not even just that, oh, Conor gasses every. Like, yeah, Conor is an explosive. He's a fast twitch guy. You can't have both. People are like, oh, what if he fixed that? You can't. Maybe it got better, but you can't be Yoel Romero and also have a crazy gas tank. You can't be Francis Ngannou and have a crazy gas tank. I realize these are, you look at them, oh, it's because all that crazy. No, it's explosiveness. Like you either are the marathon body type, the extreme being the Diaz brothers, or you're the explosive body type, the extreme being Yoel. You can't have both. You can be in the middle somewhere, but when you have that touch of death, they like to call it, you're not going to have the best cardio. When you're exploding constantly, you're not going to have the best cardio. It's one or the other. You can blend it. Like in the second Diaz fight, he tried to make up for that and find himself somewhere down the middle. But his body, his genetics, like that is what it is. And he is a knockout artist for a reason. If he comes out and he can put some heavy shots, even if he can't knock out Dustin in those first 2 rounds, I think it's going to go Conor's way. I lean Conor. I won't even just say I lean. I got Conor. I got Conor by TKO, probably in the second round. But if it makes it to that third round, if it makes it to the end of the third round, we're going to see Dustin start to, I'm not going to say take over, but it's going to get dicey. Dustin, it's not even just the cardio, it's just the grit and he's the opposite of Conor is as the fight goes on, he's one of them guys that almost kind of has to get hit. He's got to get hit and get woken up and work himself into the fight, and he tends to take over the longer the fight goes. So I think that Conor by 2 second round TKO, but I'm not betting 3-1 against Dustin. I'll admit to you also, it might also just be hard because I fucking love Dustin. And I'm not a Conor hater like some people want to say, but I would like to see Dustin. My heart is with Dustin, but I do feel like stylistically, he does tend to get hit. He does tend to make it into a war, and Hooker hit him 95 times in the first round and a half, 2 rounds. How many times? If you get hit like that in the first round and a half, 2 rounds by Conor, you're not even getting to 50. You're gonna get slapped. You cannot get hit like that against Conor. He has to fight differently, and it's tough when you have to rely on a guy to fight different than he likes to fight. Conor, he's gonna fight how he likes to fight. I mean, I'm not saying he won't bring in new wrinkles like he did in the Diaz rematch. Last rematch he had, he brought new wrinkles in. He'll probably bring in new wrinkles, and maybe the 60 seconds thing is just to get all of us, including Dustin and his team, to think that he's just gonna come in there the same Conor. Maybe he's got a surprise for us, but if he doesn't, typical Conor and typical Dustin, you got to lean Conor just stylistically. Whilst for Dustin, you got to kind of rely on him to fight a little differently. You got to rely on him to be able to fucking not get hit in early on in the fight like he likes to and like he tends to. And that's why I do feel like Conor will, unfortunately for me, line him up with that left. I don't think he's going to starch him in 60 seconds, but I do think eventually he, as much heart and fucking grit and as much improvement as Dustin has made, I think stylistically, this is just a tough fight for him. I think Conor will catch him with something at some point. Most likely if it gets to the third round, I'm going to sway. Unless Conor's put on a tremendous amount of damage on Dustin, the tides are going to probably be shifting. I don't think Conor will be able to do as well in the third, fourth, and fifth as he did against Nate, because I just feel like Dustin at that point is just going to be really starting to heat up and find his range, find his rhythm, and man, it could get crazy, man. I would love to see the world get shocked. But overall, man, got to take Conor by TKO, most likely second round. I don't think he gets 60 seconds, but I do think he gets it done pretty early. And that's going to be it, man. I will be tweeting out all my bets. So follow me on Twitter. It's going to be below if you want to see my bets. I will be live on Twitch a little bit, probably like an hour before the fights start until all the fights are over. I cannot wait. Those are always my favorite streams. I stream every day, but the fight cards are just my favorite. I'm hyped as fuck. Literally woke up today feeling like fight night. Like I literally woke up and was like thinking like I've had to tell myself like 3 times there's no fights today. But yeah, it's early in the morning. Let's see these weigh-ins. Let's yeah, I mean, I'll be tweeting out if anything changes, but this is where I'm at. And hope you guys liked the video. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like, sub, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking around this long. Sorry this video is so late. Dude, I wanted to drop this video on Wednesday. I'm sorry. But it is what it is. It's been a really hectic week. And then with the fight card being on Wednesday, I was still stuck trying to do a last-minute video for that one. It just fucked me all up. My bad. We will be back to our regular scheduled program on the next one. And shit, man, I appreciate it. More videos to come. And appreciate you guys watching. Peace.